Welcome to BAPCO TV. Now, joining me today is Paul Kennedy. He's going to be at the BAPCO Conference, but not just as a keynote speaker. He'll be in quite a few of the sessions. Thanks so much for joining me, Paul. You're talking about, you are going to be in a few sessions, aren't you? Can you tell me a little bit about your role with UK Blue Light Channel?
Sure. Well, I'm a former Chief Police Officer. I spent 30 years in policing, and my last role in policing was as Deputy Chief Constable within North Yorkshire Police, and I also led on technology programmes for the National Police Chiefs Council. But I now work as an independent advisor to the technology industry. So I've been working with several of my partners, discussing at BAPCO subjects such as artificial intelligence, digital evidence management and cloud technology as well. And I'm really looking forward to the chance of meeting old colleagues and discussing these really interesting subjects.
I mean, these subjects are actually quite in-depth, aren't they? Cloud computing, AI, digital evidence management. How are you structuring your sessions?
Well, I'm looking to work with some very clever people who know these technologies really well, and some of my colleagues in the technology industry know these subjects better than many people internationally. I'm a former Chief Police Officer, and my role is to convert that language of technology into what the operational benefits are to policing, and that's what I feel so passionate about, how policing needs to meet modern challenges, but policing can only do that by adopting effectively these new and emerging technologies.
And you're talking about the new technologies that are coming up. Is there anything that specifically grabs your attention?
There's so much, and there's so many technologies which affect policing, but I think the one technology which at the real spearhead of all of this is artificial intelligence. That's the ability for policing to absorb huge amounts of data like it's never done before, and often very personal, sensitive data, and being able to manipulate that and use that to keep people safe, to catch criminals, and do what the public expect to keep our communities safe. So artificial intelligence is the one standout technology, linked to all the others which we've discussed as well, which in my view will really transform policing. But it's not without its challenges, not without its risks, and those are some of the issues which we'll be discussing at BAPCO.
And it's usually the end user, isn't it, that the ones that are getting a bit wary and a bit scared about AI. We see it every day, we use it on our smartphones, but when it comes to police forces and emergency services using them, people are a little bit wary. What do you think we can do to make sure that they trust what the police forces are doing?
Well, I think first and foremost it is to respect that diverse range of views on artificial intelligence. Some believe for, some believe against. There's a privacy debate as well. As members of the public, we've seen that around facial recognition technology and the possible interference with privacy and civil liberties. So we need to respect the wide spectrum of views, in my opinion. But what we also need to do, and what police are challenged to do, is to keep members of the public safe. And that we now have the ability to access huge amounts of data, as I said before, from all different places, currently held in all different silos. And policing needs to embrace that data, to use it effectively, to keep people safe, to be efficient and effective in the modern era of policing.
And do you think they're expressing this enough? Do you think they're telling people enough that actually they are keeping them safe and secure?
It's a really good question. To be honest with you, in my view, I don't think policing generally actually understands the art of the possible, doesn't fully understand what's available here and now. And that's why some of the technology suppliers who are coming to BAPCO are so interesting, because they were talking about technologies such as digital evidence management, such as AI, and saying this is here and now. Police forces can embrace these technologies now at not massively significant cost. And they will discuss about the art of the possible, what's possible here and now to keep communities safe, to keep police forces as effective as possible.
And obviously there's an international market that's coming along to BAPCO as well. Is that why you chose to be part of this?
Absolutely. Personally, I'm fascinated in the international dimension of policing. The challenges which UK policing faces are so spookily similar to those in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the Americas, Europe. So there's a huge amount we can learn from international law enforcement agencies, international industries, technology industries, but also a huge amount of good practice we can export from the UK as well. And I'm particularly keen on speaking to colleagues from both the UK and internationally to listen to best practice and also share what's working well in the UK.
I mean, that's got to be a highlight of your digital evidence management talk. Can you tell me a little bit about how you might work that into the international audience?
Well, the digital evidence management is a solution which tackles this exponential rise in digital evidence. Most police investigations now carry with them a huge weight of digital evidence. If you just think about smartphones, just an example, victims, witnesses, suspects, all carry those smartphones, all a huge amount of data, but also many of the places where that digital evidence will come from as well. So police forces need to look at how can they collect, how can they analyse, how can they share huge amounts of digital evidence, often in quick time during a major or serious crime investigation. But those challenges are not unique to a major crime in the UK, very similar to what would happen in other parts of the world as well. So on the subject of digital evidence management, police forces such as Merseyside Police, British Transport Police and others have adopted this technology, using it really well. And that's something which can be shared with international police forces, because I think we're ahead of the rest in the UK on that particular technology. So a great chance now to showcase digital evidence management, how it's benefiting police forces at the moment, how it's benefiting collaborations of police forces, and let's tell the rest of the world about that. And let's share that technology if we can.
And of course, taking into consideration security aspects as well, because obviously these play major parts in any kind of management system.
The public trust the police to manage hugely sensitive, high volume personal data, and that's so important. We can never not acknowledge the risk that goes with that. But balanced against that, we've also got the chance to manage huge amounts of data, more so than ever before. So policing has got to embrace new digital ways of thinking, not only about technology, but about data as well. And that's how these new technologies, such as digital evidence management, allows police to absorb and utilise different types of data, a much greater volume and variety of data, but to do so effectively.
So you've obviously attended BAPCO previously, and this is your first time speaking. From both aspects, why did you think BAPCO would be great for this year and ongoing?
Well, I've attended a number of BAPCO events before, and I have actually spoken at BAPCO Newcastle last year. And in the course of my work, I go to many police conferences, many police technology conferences. BAPCO is a real standout because the quality of the location, all the facilities there allow for a really great opportunity for a range of stakeholders to come together: police officers, police staff, the technology industry, other stakeholders as well, such as the Home Office, government bodies, can all come together and talk about what are our common problems and how can we utilise technology as effectively as possible, again, to improve policing. And as you've touched upon already, how can we share that internationally with colleagues, international police forces and governments as well. So a really great opportunity. It's a fantastic event. It's really nice to see all chums as well, from policing and from industry, for me and for many others. A good chance just to network, socialise a little bit, but really talk about some really fascinating new and emerging technologies for policing.
What's been your favourite part of the past BAPCOs then? Are you looking forward to this year? Well,
to be honest with you, it's the social, but the networking part of it. I love chatting to people. I love catching up with former colleagues, and I love many of the talks. I love listening to people who know more than me. I've got information about different subjects, and I love to go and listen and just absorb that. So for anybody who's got the remotest interest, or even a real significant interest in policing technologies, it's one of the standout events in the policing calendar to really come and listen to some really interesting speakers, some really clever people that know their technology really well, and then just have time to think about and to discuss how those technologies can really improve policing, and more importantly, how they can improve keeping communities safe.
So obviously that's a reason for someone to come along, but can you give me one example of what you've learned from last time that you could tell someone, this is the reason why you should come?
Virtual reality, actually, yeah. One of the companies I was working with was using a really innovative technology around virtual reality, which I hadn't seen actually in practice before. But the company, Black Marble, actually demonstrated how they use virtual reality for a crime scene and also in a training setting. And for having come from a serious crime investigation background, having been to many crime scenes, it really changed the dynamic. I mean, that technology is still evolving. It's still not fully ready to be rolled out in terms of crime scene management yet, but it's getting there. And that's what I learned last time, and it really made me think about how virtual reality can actually have an impact on what's really my particular area of policing, that serious crime investigation.
Well, who knows what you're going to learn this year?
I'll be looking everywhere and listening to many things, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Paul.
My pleasure.
If you want to catch Paul Kennedy at BAPCO, you can join by going online to babco-show.co.uk and register for free. Otherwise, we'll see you at Coventry Ricoh Arena, March 10th and 11th.